Hello there, Holy Trinity Claygate. This is John Dunnett speaking from CPAS, and thank you very much indeed for this opportunity just to give you a bit of an update as to what we've been up to over the last few months. My guess is that lockdown has been disruptive right across the board, and you will have experienced that in your own home and professional lives, in your church life, and certainly it's been the case that for CPAS it presented us with an enormous challenge. In short, we had to make a decision whether we were going, as it were, to hibernate, or whether somehow we were going to step into the space that lockdown created. And in particular, what was it that we could do for churches and church leaders up and down the country? So in short, we went with the latter. We felt there was a need for us to step up to the mark rather than to furlough most of our staff and lock down. And in practice, that's meant several things. So firstly, for example, we created quite literally out of nowhere a series of seminars entitled Leadership in Lockdown, helping clergy and lay church leaders with the particular challenges faced by local churches. Quite amazingly, by God's grace, that really has taken off, and something like 2,000 leaders have signed up on those seminars literally in these last few weeks. Secondly, with regard to our Ventures and Falcons programme this summer, it won't surprise you to know that we had to cancel the residential programme. However, in its place, we worked with the leaders of our Ventures and Falcons, and it's fantastic that we have more than 40 virtual ventures running, quite a lot of them literally starting in the next week. And we thank God for those leaders who've done such a fantastic job, and we'd ask you to pray for them. And then thirdly, with regard to our patronage portfolio, it was quite obvious from the onset of lockdown that dioceses were not going to proceed with appointments. And so we had to ask, what did we want to do with the time, as it were, while the appointment processes were on suspension? And in short, we decided that this was an opportunity for us to have personal contact with our patronage incumbents. And so we've been systematically ringing them. There are nearly 700 of them. So as you can imagine, we haven't quite got there yet. But we've rung more than half of them so far and had the chance to say to them, how can we help you at this particular and challenging time? What is it that we can pray for you? So that's what we've been up to. It's kept us more than busy. I'm sure many of you will have experienced that yourself. The gardening leave that I thought might happen when lockdown was announced never seemed to have materialised, but that's not a problem. And we thank God for the opportunities of these last few months. We're very grateful for Holy Trinity's prayers and financial support. It won't surprise you to know that this lockdown has cost us. We estimated the initial loss just by the cancellation of Ventures and Falcons to be in the order of £150,000. So we do anticipate a significant deficit this year. But just as important, will you join us in praying for a couple of particular things? Firstly, for what the advent of Zoom means for training in the months and years to come. We do a lot of work with dioceses and networks of church leaders. There's every possibility that the way that happens is going to change, and we need godly wisdom to know the best way to proceed. Secondly, you may appreciate that the Church of England has a particular financial challenge at the moment, and a number of dioceses have either frozen appointments processes because of finance, not COVID, or are even, as in the case with the diocese where I am, looking at the possibility of parochial clergy redundancies. So there is a real challenge if we are to continue in our commitment to see gospel men and women appointed to churches around the country. And then thirdly, and particularly for the next 2 weeks, will you pray for our virtual ventures, that youngsters going on these who are already Christians will be strengthened in their faith? But will you also pray particularly that youngsters trying these out as a first time, a bit of a taster if you like, may really enjoy it and determined to go next year, 2021, on an actual, real, residential Christian holiday. So thank you again, Holy Trinity, for all your support and prayers. I look forward to the day that I get an invitation to be with you again and can shake hands and see you properly and in person. God bless. Take care.